Hi, my name's Josh and I am an Inky Awards judge for 2017. I currently go to Coffs Harbour High School in Coffs Harbour, New South Wales. I'm 15 and I'm in Year 9 at my school. So here's a little bit about me. My interests include camping, reading, obviously, and photography. And I love to get the most out of all these three interests by doing all three of them at the same time. So whenever I'm camping, I could be out taking photos and I can be reading. And whenever I'm out taking photos, I might bring a book as well. So what am I doing when I'm not reading? Well, when I'm not reading, I'm actually usually quite busy because I do have two casual jobs that usually keep me doing things, and that also gets me a little bit of pocket money. But when I'm not reading, you can usually find me either playing a video game or doing my homework. I'm usually at home with my family or friends, or I'm out camping with family and friends, which is often. So what's a book that made me cry? So I've gotten very emotional over a lot of different books, and I've teared up at a few books, but there's only one book that's ever made me cry, and that book is called Of Mice and Men, and it's by John Steinbeck. And the reason it made me cry is because it's such an emotional and deep story, and it really rings with truth, and the characters are down to earth. You can see the humanity in all of them. They're not superheroes, they don't fly off into space, they don't save, the princess at the end of the day. At the end of the day, they're flesh and blood, and, people do die. And you really, really see emotions and feelings in the characters in the book, and the ending and the twists and all the plot throughout the whole book just brought together made me cry in the end. So that's why. So what's a book that made me laugh? So there's a lot of books that make me laugh, there's a lot of books that make me giggle, but one book that stands out that made me really laugh was Bill Bryson, who wrote the book Down Under. And the reason it was so funny is because just the way he wrote it, the way he writes, it just seems to ring with truth all the time. And, he writes from different perspectives of total strangers who are just meeting the main character. And the way he writes that, it really makes it funnier, and it really makes it a really good read to just get lost in. So one of the last questions is, who is the author I'd most like to meet? And actually it's John Steinbeck, the author I just talked about. And I'd want to meet him to ask him about the book and what inspired him to create the characters the way he did. Because if you have read the book, you'll know that the characters, when he wrote them, are so human and so real that it feels like they must have been ripped from the real world. They must have been a true story. Like, some of the characters seem as if John Steinbeck must have met them in his lifetime, or they might have been his friends and family. And I would want to meet him and ask him, how did he get these inspirations? Because if these inspirations for these characters really did just come from his head, then he's the most amazing writer I've ever seen in my life. But unfortunately, he did die in 1968. What is my favourite book to film adaptation? So everyone knows the Harry Potter series, and everyone knows that they were made into a very successful film series. But I really, really love the Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and Part 2 movies, because they just ring with so much truth, and they really, really focus on focusing on the book, and they don't miss any points. They incorporated scenes that I would never thought would be brought into the Harry Potter movies, but they did. So I was really glad when I saw the Harry Potter movie that they did that. So that was my favourite book to film adaptation. On a quiz show, what would my special subject be? So there's a lot to choose from, and I could choose probably 10 subjects off the top of my head that I'd be good at, but probably the most easiest one for me would be general history. So history just in general, or just everything. And I know that sounds kind of boring, but I have a photographic memory, so for some reason history just seems to stick in my head more than anything else does, and I think I would absolutely nail that quiz show if that was the subject. So that about wraps it up. That was me. I'm Josh, and I just cannot wait to be a 2017 Inky Awards judge, and hopefully you know a little bit more about me now. So yeah, bye.